So Donkey Kong Country Returns HD will be out on January 16th, 2025, and we know that this is going to be an exciting game for many Donkey Kong fans, which I am a lifelong one of those. Every country game has actually been super enjoyable for me start to finish, and it's nice that we're going to be able to have a reason to go back through this Wii era classic that was also released on the 3DS, and that has to do with this potential problem that we're discussing for Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. But obviously Nintendo here recently has been very much in this port and remaster heavy release schedule because we know they're gearing up for their next generation hardware, and that is an easy project to give to some of your B teams or smaller development studios while your big guys are working on the 3D Marios and all of the next installments for your major franchises that are going to come out during the life cycle of the Switch 2. But Nintendo has been slowly marketing this game and including some new footage such as the opening scenes of the game and also an updated trailer that seems to have only come out from Nintendo of Europe and in that region of the world, but nonetheless it's giving us a little bit more of a detailed look at what some people are noticing as a potential downgrade from what the Wii version had. Now, obviously, when you are going up in price point from a game where it originally launched at probably $50 on the Wii and then $40 on the 3DS, we're now going to $60 for the Nintendo Switch release. You would want across the board a visual enhancement with no question about anything being downgraded. That is not what you would expect from an HD remaster. So that's what I want to dive into today, and actually full credit goes to Game Explain because we are going to look through their video together where they have a few different moments that are quite notable that outline exactly what has changed. So we'll get on the same page with all of this info. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation if you're new here. And with that, we'll hop right over to the Game Explain video together. So we will take a look at this footage together and kind of go through and pause on certain parts that are worth noting. You know, again, there's some points of interest, some not so much. We'll kind of skip through the intro of the video here because this is where we start to get the frame by frame comparisons, and you can kind of be the judge yourself on if you think it's stuff that is a downgrade or not. This part, I will say that they are mentioning, notably, things look better here. The colors, everything is a lot more vibrant. If you just look like at a side-by-side comparison right here at this moment in the video, clearly some work has been put up or put in to rework the lighting engine, which is kind of what this part of the video is demonstrating. So from the lighting and the kind of brightness of everything and just how vibrant everything looks, it is an upgrade. I think you can hands down say that whenever you're looking at the footage here that we're looking at side by side. But it's also pointed out that there are some issues specifically with kind of like just things not looking right in the background. Very nitpick type stuff in my opinion. Some things have been slightly moved in the background. I'm not gonna worry too much about things just being slightly different as far as their placement goes. Yes, I'm a fan of the original game, not to the state where I know exactly what it looked like and to where I want it to be one-to-one perfect with what it was. So if small things are changed, no big deal to me, in my opinion. Noting here an Easter egg change, and now instead of a Wii controller, they are holding a Switch controller, and then we do have kind of this most notable part of this section being just of the effects. Kind of there is definitely a reworking of different visual effects, but the one that really has people talking, and I want to get to it here, spend some time on it. This is where it is noticeably a visual downgrade on the water, and we'll go through and watch that again. We'll actually watch this section of the video uninterrupted,
which really changes the mood. Now, as with the previous trailer, the water remains a bit of a mixed bag, and this scene is no exception, as it looks completely awful here. Not only is it missing the light reflection from the Wii version, giving it a much flatter appearance, but the wave there looks like it was ripped right out of Paper Mario, and not in a good way. It looks just like a flat white strip is moving around on top. Whereas on Wii, it looked like, you know, actual water.
So that's very noticeable. I mean, if you just look at the difference right there in terms of the how the water looks quality-wise, it's obviously been kind of downgraded, if you will, just because it does lose some of its reflection compared to what it had before, and that's really consistent with most water scenes within the game. Now, to be charitable to Nintendo, maybe there's a an update of some sort that they put out there before this game actually launches, but I do think that the footage we're looking at is probably largely finalized finished footage. I don't think that this is going to change by time it launches. And if you look at just kind of the difference, you know, in water textures and the visuals, it's just very clear. And so obviously, you know, it's understandable that people would be somewhat upset about some kind of visual downgrade happening in this game, because again, it's a full $60 retail, and that is kind of a pricing problem in itself that Nintendo has. When you talk about all of their various different 3DS ports, specifically Luigi's Mansion 2 HD being a $40 price point and then actually being sold for $60, that's one that also, is it really worth that? No, in my opinion, no. And then you have a game like Metroid Prime Remastered that absolutely was an upgrade in every stretch of the imagination, and it was sold for $40. So yes, Nintendo is charging what they believe they can get revenue wise for these new games, and obviously some people are going to be pretty upset about that, which is completely understandable. I will still be picking up Donkey Kong Country Returns HD personally, but I think it's totally worth to call out Nintendo and noting that, yeah, it's not actually an upgrade in every area of the game. And the other thing that I do tend to believe is the probably what we're looking at here is Nintendo may have actually rebuilt this game off of the 3DS version as opposed to the Wii version, because you may know that we are getting additional levels that were included in the 3DS version in this game, and because those levels were designed for the 3DS, I do think it would make perfect sense for Nintendo to start their remaster off of that project as opposed to the Wii, which is probably why we are seeing some of these visual downgrades, because when you upscale a 3DS game and you can rework the lighting engine, make the colors pop more vibrant and everything, but if you don't actually put in all the work to things like water textures, and you have some missing effects or some things that just don't look as smooth as they should, back from the original game on the Wii, that's what's happening there, because obviously the 3DS was not as powerful as the Wii overall, and I think that that's where we're kind of looking at the biggest discrepancy with this game. And at that $60 price point, rightfully so, some people are upset about it, and that's where I really want to pose the question to you guys on how you're feeling about all of the new deep dive footage in terms of Donkey Kong Country Returns HD. Are you feeling like, yeah, across the board, this should only be improvements and upgrades, and because you can visually call out some stuff that just does not look as impressive in a remaster from Nintendo that is going up in price, is that a deal breaker for you and something that's going to turn you off from picking up this game and adding it into your Switch library? Or are you somebody who, you know what, you just enjoy the 2D action adventure platforming element to Donkey Kong games too much, and you will indeed be picking this up still on release date or there afterwards next year in 2025. So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.